Geeks, nerds, gamers, and trolls. This is your MMOBomb.com first look at Warhammer 40k Darktide. It's currently available on Steam. The base purchase price is $39.99, or you can get the Imperial Edition for $59.99, which comes with some cosmetics and some in-game currency to spend. And yes, there is in-game currency, and there is an in-game cash shop. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. First thing we want to do is take a look at the gameplay and find out, is the game any fun? As always, this is not an expert guide. It's not an in-depth review. It's just a first look. Help you decide if this game is something that you might want to purchase, download, and try for yourself. So go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And let's get started in our look at Darktide. First of all, if you're not familiar with the game, it is a 4-player co-op zombie horde shooter. Although I use the term shooter a little loosely, there are guns in the game. There is a class that specializes specifically in the guns, but you're going to be doing a lot of melee as well. You're going to need to be conserving ammo in most cases, and a lot of times when it's giant hordes of zombies right up in your face, it's easier just to melee them anyway. So you're going to see a lot of melee combat, although you'll notice some of the folks I'm with are shooting. Part of the reason you see so much melee out of me is because I am the Ogre class, and I'm sort of the frontline shock troop, if you will. There are 4 classes currently in the game, the first of which we'll talk about is the Ogre. Like I said, it's a good front line. It takes less toughness damage. It does good melee damage. It has good knockbacks and crowd control. Its special ability is a big crowd control that you can just run into the middle of hordes and knock them all down. So it's a good frontline tanky type character. The Veteran is a sharpshooter class, and it really focuses heavily on the gun aspect of the game. You get extra ammo, you get to reserve extra ammo, you get more ammo on pickups, you do a lot of damage with ranged weapons. You can also melee attack as well. You will find yourself occasionally melee attacking with the Veteran sharpshooter, but it is more heavily focused on the ranged. Your Zealot Preacher is going to be your melee focused damage dealer, whereas the Ogre's more of a heavy tank with lots of CC. The Zealot does a lot of melee damage and can really focus into that with their feats and passive abilities. Then finally you've got the Psyker, which is the mage class, for lack of a better term. They're really good against elite enemies. Whenever you're using your magic abilities, you can one-shot anything, but you can only attack one target at a time. So if there's an elite or special unit on the ground, something you really need to focus on, like a rampager or a flamethrower or something like that, the mage can take it out with one shot just by busting its head open with its psychic abilities. So they're really good against elites and special enemies. Each class has access to a feats tree. As you level up, you're going to gain access to different feat tiers, and within each one of those you're going to have 3 abilities to choose from, so you can sort of customize your character to play the way that you want to play. Also at the top you can see your built-in passives as well as your special ability and what that does. And again, there's one of these for each class. This is the Ogre Skullbreaker, so heavy on toughness defense, heavy on melee attacks, and lots of crowd control, which is what Daddy enjoys. During the pre-launch beta, I was experiencing a lot of technical issues with the game, a lot of crashes and disconnects from the server. Luckily, I've had far less issues. I've only disconnected from the server one time since launch. Haven't had any hard crashes from the client. So everything's been running well, running smooth. Everything's worked very decently as it should during the launch process. I know there are definitely always, of course, some folks still having issues. I myself, though, don't have any issues to report as far as disconnects or anything like that. Like I said, one time disconnect from the server, couldn't get back into the match that I was in, so I just had to close the game and relaunch it and start fresh over with another group. They are constantly dropping updates and patches to address different issues here and there. Big fixes, small fixes, whatever needs to be addressed. They've been coming fast and furious, so kudos to them for getting some patches out and getting this thing up and running and having a fairly successful launch, I'd have to say. I think one of the first concerns that people might have in a game like this is, does it get repetitive? Does it just become the same old every time? And so far for me, I've played quite a bit, several hours, and I have to say it hasn't been repetitive at all. It's all very satisfying. Smashing monsters with my mace, shooting them with my huge Ripper gun, It's all been very satisfying. Even playing a little bit of Psyker and popping heads with my psychic abilities, especially on Elite, that's really satisfying when you can really help out a group like that and just one-shot an elite mob that's coming at your team that could really do some damage. So overall, I've been having a ton of fun. This is an absolute blast to play. It's run smooth, everything's worked as intended, and it's been absolutely a blast to take part in. All the folks that I've played with have luckily been on the same team. We've all waited for each other and helped each other out. The game really gears towards that, especially with the toughness system. You can see the blue bar above my white health bar down in the bottom left-hand corner. That right now, especially when you get started, only regenerates when you're surrounded by other players. So it really gives you an incentive to stick together and stay as a group and work together to accomplish whatever it is you need to, depending on which mission you've got in. At the end of the day, it does what it says on the box, man. It's a zombie horde shooter, and especially as you rank up the difficulty, it can get really intense. Starting out, you'll find that you might want to play your first couple of missions on the first difficulty setting, but after that, you'll quickly go to the second one, and as you gain levels, you'll start going up from there. You'll kind of feel it as you equip gear and get different pieces of equipment and level up your feats and get different passages and stuff. You'll know, you'll be able to feel when it's time to move up to another difficulty level. I wanted to say moving up is a very satisfying experience. It can be a little frustrating at times, but it's only because they give you what you need, which is more difficulty. Makes it harder, tougher. Enemies are stronger. And that's very satisfying when you come out the other side of that and you know that you've improved and you've got better gear and you're just better at the game and that you're ready to move up to the next difficulty tier. It's a fantastic experience. And if we know anything about developer Fast Shark, it's that there's more content coming. There's going to be more missions. There's going to be more classes. There's going to be more weapons and things to grab. There's going to be stronger, tougher enemies. We've got more coming in the future. This is just the very beginning. Based on their work on Vermintide and Vermintide 2. There's definitely DLCs coming, so you can go ahead and prepare yourself for that as well. Also have to mention, especially if you're using the quick play function, finding matches is very quick. There's plenty of players, and if you're not immediately matched with somebody within just a few seconds, it will fill a match with bots just until other people get in and get into the game. I've never had a bot last for more than just a couple of minutes. And usually even if I load in with bots, by the time the loading screen is over with, it's all players. So especially right now, finding a match is quick, easy, and not a problem to find other players to play with. And you can, of course, play with your friends if you would like. Hell, grab some buddies and crank the difficulty all the way up. Let's see how crazy we can get. As I said earlier, there is a cash shop in the game, and it is one of those cash shops where you can buy cosmetics only, but you cannot directly purchase them. You have to buy the currency, the cash shop currency, which means you're going to have to spend more than what something costs and have some left over, because that's the way these live service games like to work. So there are cosmetics only in the cash shop, but it is a bit predatory, and it does have the FOMO timer, as you'll see down in the bottom left-hand corner whenever I go back out to the screens. You'll see that, oh, this is going to disappear in such and such time. You better grab it now. So it is a little predatory, but it is cosmetics only. There's a store for each of the classes. You can get something specific for the class you enjoy playing the most, or you can get something for a little bit of everybody if you want to. It's available in the cash shop. As we wrap up our final thoughts on Warhammer 40k Darktide, I'll switch to some video of me playing the Psyker class. Here you can see me popping the head of an elite. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen, one shot, one kill. You have to be careful whenever you're popping heads, though, because you can get overwhelmed by your psychic abilities, and that's what your special ability does. You can see I can fill it up with 100% right there. That's my ability to use my magical psychic powers, and then I use my special ability to clear that out. And if you do it too many times, one more time after 100%, you'll go mad for a few seconds and be out of the game for a minute. So you will be using guns in melee, although you're a bit squishier as the Psyker. So you'll see me using my pistol a lot. But yeah, final thoughts. This is a quality product. This is a AAA production. This is running absolutely beautifully for me. There again, I know there are some folks out there having issues. And some of you might be having issues as well, but for me, it's run very smooth since launch. They are updating fast and furious. There is a cash shop you can totally ignore. It's cosmetics only. But if you do want to spend money in it, be aware that you have to buy that cash shop currency. And then all of your items and stuff like that you just get by playing the game, getting the in-game currency, and going over to the armory and picking out which weapons you want to purchase at the time that are available. There is an upgrade system for weapons. It's a very simplistic one at the moment. As you're leveling up, you're probably not going to mess with it too much because you're going to be replacing items way too quickly as you're leveling up. But once you get to max level, there is a weapon upgrade ability. There's also going to be some crafting in the game. It's not currently in the game. It wasn't finished at launch. As of the time of this recording, it's still not in the game. It just says coming soon or something similar to that when you look at the crafting. So just know there is some crafting coming in the future, but it's not something I can talk about because it's not something that I've gotten to get hands-on with. If you're interested at all in Warhammer 40K Darktide, I fully recommend it. If you think it looks like it could be fun, let me tell you that it is. It's an absolute blast to play. I've had nothing but a good time all the time playing this game. It's very satisfying to chop off monster heads. It's very interesting with the different types of missions and stuff. And quick play is finding matches very quickly. So I'm going to give this a solid 9 out of 10 right now for me. It's not had any issues at all other than one server crash, which is bound to happen. I think that was day one. I haven't had any major issues since then, any game-breaking bugs. Sure, I'll see some frame drops here and there, but nothing significant, nothing game-breaking, and nothing that's overly noticeable the majority of the time whenever I do see them. So yeah, 9 out of 10 from me. Very highly recommend Warhammer 40K Darktide if it's something you think that you might want to check out. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this first look. As always, be sure to head over to MMOBomb.com for the latest news and information on Warhammer 40K Darktide and all your other online multiplayer games that you're interested in checking out. We've always got podcasts and articles going up, so be sure to head over to MMOBomb.com. Thank you very much for checking out this first look. I've been the Noob Fridge, Troy Blackburn. You can follow me on YouTube at Noob Fridge. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. MMO Bomb. Thank you so much. This first look is done. I am out.